Hello and welcome to a Replica Airguns BB pistol review. My name is Michael K, and today we're looking at the Umarex Legends P08 CO2 BB pistol. So let's get right into some of the specifications. This is a non-blowback, all-metal constructed gun. It uses standard 12-gram CO2 cartridges. It shoots 4.5mm steel BBs. It has a 21-round all-metal stick magazine. It weighs in at about 1.7 pounds, or 808 grams, has a 4-inch non-rifle barrel, shoots in double action only, and has a claimed FPS of 410. The sights are non-adjustable, so you have fixed sights on this model, and this gun is made in Taiwan. I'm pretty sure this gun comes in a box. I've seen pictures of the box, and I'm sure it also comes with a manual. They always do. But this is a sample version or review version, so mine came exactly as you're looking at it. And if you haven't noticed, this is a replica of the Luger P08. And before I get any further in this video, I will be shooting this gun just to give you some feedback on the basic performance, but this is not the official field test or shooting review. Stay posted for that one coming up later on. Some interesting facts about the P08. A P08 is not necessarily a Luger. Luger is the name Stoeger purchased the rights to back in 1920, and so only they can actually make a Luger licensed version of this gun. All other versions are simply P08s. Now, the P08 was standardized back in 1908, but it evolved from versions made as early as 1893. One of the most common rounds used in the P08 was the 9mm Luger or Parabellum. It's kind of interesting how today's 9mm cartridge is also referred to as a 9mm Luger or Parabellum. Now, I'm not sure which came first. It's kind of one of those chicken or egg situations, but I have a feeling the Luger may have influenced the naming of the 9mm cartridge. This gun also shot 7.65mm Parabellum and 45 auto cartridges. Now, the P08 is known for its great ergonomics, so it holds well in the hand, shoots very well, and it also has a very low recoil because of its toggle lock action, which absorbs much of the force of the discharge from the round. Alright, so let's take a quick look at this gun. We're going to start off with the left side here. And again, I'll just say this, most of this gun is metal. And so we have our safety, which is all metal. And you can see the German marking here. Not really sure what that says. We also have our caliber there, 4.5mm, 177. Our serial number, our P08 markings on the frame or slide. It's not really a slide. The slide would have been up here, so that would be the frame of the gun. I'm not sure what this would have done in the real function of the gun. It's molded into this gun. We do have a working magazine release. We'll just take a quick look at the magazine since we're here. Now, it's your typical sprung magazine with the follower. You just pop that in there, load your BBs from here, gravity feeds them, 21 BBs, release it, and you got this little catch so your BBs don't fly out the top. Be careful you don't touch anything on the way in or a BB will come out. I noticed that when I was loading it in. You have to be careful not to touch anything or a BB comes out. Luckily, just one. Now, what's nice is this whole bottom piece covers the CO2 cover, or the CO2 tab, which is down here, and it's your typical tab. So we'll pull this off and just take a quick look. I don't have any CO2 in here, but it's sprung, so it closes up on itself when you're not tightening it. And obviously you load your CO2 cartridges in here and tighten it up, put your cover back on, put your magazine in, and you'll see everything's covered, which is great. And I do want to point this out. You'll notice we got a little bit of wear marks going on here. This pretty much has happened since I got this gun. The paint does come off pretty easy on the high spots. That's just going to happen on all guns, but it is coming off pretty easy on this gun. Now, I'm not sure if this gun is the finalized version. This could even be a prototype. I'm not sure. Like I said, I didn't get it in a box, so it's possibly not the retail version. And so the paint may change. It may be a little more durable. I don't really mind that it's wearing in the high spots, because if you had your hands on a real Luger or P08, I'm sure you're going to see a lot of wear on it. They're not the youngest of guns. They go way back. Depends which version you have. And so you're going to have wear marks unless it's been refinished. And a lot of people don't want to refinish an old classic gun. They want to leave it as it is. Alright, so let's take a quick look. We'll look around here. Still looking on the left side. Again, plastic grips. Going to flip it over. And here's the right side. Okay, we've got our F for the German market. We have our warning instructions. Again, your plastic grips. And again, you saw me take it off. That grip comes off. By the way, all of this is steel. The trigger's steel. Double action only trigger. Fairly heavy. A good 9 to 10 pounds. As I'll talk about when I do my actual shooting portion of the test. Let's just take a quick look at the top. None of this is blowback, none of this operates. The only functioning parts are the trigger, the magazine release, and the safety. That's it, okay? So let's take a look at the top. Sights are fixed. Just your notch in the rear here, post in the front, okay? You do have a ring here for some sort of a strap. Not really sure what you'd want to use on here, but you could. And I'm just going to point this out. The front of the gun, you have a nice wide open recessed barrel that goes back all the way to here. So it is fairly deep. It looks very realistic when you're looking at the front of this gun. You do have a bit of a seam running the length of the gun underneath it. Okay, again, all metal there, the cap that covers up the CO2. So I'm going to show you around. Okay, hopefully I haven't missed anything. I think I've got most of it. Now I generally like to do some sort of comparison. I don't have any other P08s or Lugers. The closest thing I have would be this P08, another Umarex product. And definitely take a look at this review for this gun. I've done shooting and tabletop reviews. And this is another classic, I guess, gun from Umarex, designed in very realistic fashion to be a good replica of the original. And this is again Walther P38 licensed version. Again, this one is 4.5mm steel BB. It is blowback, which is kind of cool. And so check that video out. Also quickly point out a nice little Makarov. I've reviewed this gun a while back. Very nice gun. It does have a working slide, but no blowback. And this gun is made after the classic Makarov, another gun many people like to experience in BB versions. Alright, so at this point we're going to just quickly head outside so I can do a little bit of a pre-test for you. Then I can give you some feedback on the general performance of this gun. Okay, we're all set up. I've got my Umarex P08 loaded up with a brand new Umarex CO2 and 21 4.5mm steel BBs. We're going to attempt to get 5 accurate readings if we can through the chronograph. As you know, it's been acting up. I just haven't had a chance to get a new one yet, so we're hopefully going to get some sort of reading here. Looking at around, hopefully around 400 FPS. This gun is supposedly capable of 410, and we'll see what we get. And then I'm going to go back and try and shoot at least 10 rounds on this target from 20 feet away in a semi-rested position. Okay, so we're all loaded up, we're off safety, and this is the first shot through a brand new CO2. Here we go. Oh, good. 429.6. Not bad at all. 424.6. 432.8. Shooting nice and hot. 437.6. Last shot, 430.3. Very, very good. I mean, we were getting well over 410. Pretty much right around 430. So let's head back now and shoot 10 rounds on this target from 20 feet away, semi-rested. Okay, just gonna rest my hands on this bag. It's been working for me. All right, so it does have a rather stiff, firm, I'd say it's at least 9 to 10 pound double action trigger, but it does have a break point. So these first few shots may kind of do some weird things while I get used to it, but let's hope here. Okay. My eyes is fogging up here, hold on. One more. I think that's 10. Alright, let's take a look. Put this gun on safety. Very well centered. That is definitely about a 1.5 inch group. If this one hadn't gone high, maybe about 1 1/4. But these rounds here, all within an inch, and then 2 that went just outside of that inch grouping. Again, this is my first time shooting this pistol, and it does have a heavy trigger. I would say at least 10 pounds, close to 10 pounds. And the break point is right at the back, and it's a little bit unpredictable. It's kind of hard for me to judge. It doesn't get like real soft and then releases. It kind of you just pull it all the way, and then it releases kind of right at the very back. Alright, so let's head on inside and finish up this tabletop review. Alright, as you saw in the camera glasses, the Umarex P08 really did pretty good. We got a nice, I would say close to 430 average FPS, which is 20 FPS higher than claimed, and really it wasn't a super hot day, so I was actually expecting to get closer to 400 or just under. I was also able to get a full 6 magazines worth of shots, and you can see here on this target, this represents a full 5 magazines worth. My last magazine I took out on a can, and I'll show you that in a second, but this is well over 100 shots, or at least about 100 shots, and you can see they all were very well centered. A few went out, but I was shooting the majority of them fairly quickly. I was using a semi-rested hold, but I was shooting fairly quickly. And yes, this trigger does give your finger a bit of a workout. It's not the lightest trigger out there. Now in my last magazine, I thought I'd do something a little different. So we should have had some of the lowest FPS shots out of all the shots taken, because it was the last magazine, moving towards a fairly low CO2. And this is what this gun did. You'll see I actually put a couple holes through it, and one went right through both sides. One just didn't quite make it, but one went right through. I think this one here went through both sides. Pretty cool. That's very impressive. This is not a small soup can, it's a larger soup can, and they're a little thicker. So, very good. It must have been shooting still pretty close to 400 FPS to be able to do that. Alright, so it's time for the pros and the cons. This is pretty much an all-metal gun, and it has a nice heavy weight to it. You really can't ask for too much more metal than what you'd find in this pistol. Now in terms of realism, sure, there's not a ton of moving parts. There's no blowback, there's no working toggle lock on here. There is, however, the working magazine release and safety that are very true to the original. So overall, this gun really looks the part. The attention to detail to how a real P08 would look is very good. I like the nice wide open recessed barrel. It adds to the believability, and the concealment of the CO2 cartridge that covers the tab. So I like how the stick magazine covers that all up. Again, that also adds to believability. I've got well over the claimed 410 FPS even on this rather mild day, getting closer to 430. So on a really hot day, I could see this gun shooting as high as 450 FPS. And even with the nice high FPS, we got easily 120 plus shots, or 6 magazines worth, out of one CO2 cartridge. And when you combine that with the very good accuracy, the 1.5 inch group that I got, and the fact that it was well centered on target, this gun makes a nice plinker. And I like the fact that Umarex didn't cheap out on the stick magazine. Sometimes when the rest of the gun's metal, maybe they feel the gun has enough weight to it, they'll put a plastic stick magazine in there, which may be prone to breaking, and it just doesn't feel that good in your hand when you're loading it up. So some of the cons, again, no blowback, no working toggle lock, not a lot of moving parts on this gun. And as I mentioned earlier, the finish does seem to wear off pretty quick on the high points, but this may enhance the look for some and give it a more genuine, worn, or aged look. Now if you're not into guns with heavy double action trigger pulls, this gun may be a little bit of a workout for you. After shooting 120 rounds, I could definitely feel it in my trigger finger. But hey, it's a good workout, and that's going to help you with your shooting skills for other guns too. Alright, so I want to thank you for watching another Replica Airguns tabletop review. Don't forget to subscribe before you head out. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter. The username is Replica Airguns. Also make sure to come down to replicaairguns.com. I'll generally put a link in the description to this video to the actual post where I'll put a written review of this video review there along with some nice high-resolution photos, so check those out. And while you're visiting us at ReplicaAirguns.com, check out our Replica Airguns Canada and US stores where we carry air guns, airsoft guns, blank guns, and accessories. So thanks again for watching another Replica Airguns video. Until next time, take care.